Well, speaking of immigrants affecting other states, if you recall, as I mentioned in the other segment, Doug Ducey and Governor Greg Abbott were busing illegal immigrants to New York, or basically these sanctuary cities. And before they would get on the bus, meaning these illegal immigrants, they would look at a form that was in their language, and they would get to decide where they want to go. Do they want to go to New York? Do they want to go to Washington, D.C.? They want to go to Philadelphia? All these sanctuary cities. And they would get to pick. It was volunteer. You don't have to get on the bus. Nobody's forcing them to do it. And they were sending them to New York City. Well, when New York City hit like 11,000, it might have been a little bit less, they declared basically a state of emergency. And Eric Adams, the mayor, came out and was asking New York City residents to literally house these people because it was destroying their infrastructure. They didn't have the capacity in New York City, one of the biggest cities in the entire world, specifically also in the United States, didn't have the capacity to actually take care of these people. And so they're asking, again, residents to house them. Well, it turned into them creating these shelters. And in these shelters, they literally had Xboxes for these illegal immigrants, like multiple plasma TVs all set up, phone. They get a revolving menu, 3-course meal, or at least 3 meals a day, I should say. Couches, coffee tables, laundry services. I mean, you don't even get that with our homeless here in California or in other states. And hell, our veterans are literally sleeping on the streets. They don't even get this kind of treatment. If you recall early on in this whole debacle, Joe Biden wanted to shell, I think it was like $82 million in hotels for illegal immigrants, all the while our veterans and stuff are sleeping on the streets. I would much rather pay $82 million to sleep a guy that actually served our country than I would somebody that wanted to break the law to come in here illegally and step in front of the line and everybody else. Well, this comes us to present day here, where Eric Adams, who has a right to shelter state, in other words, a sanctuary city, he's asking for $1 billion now. Yes, $1 billion from the federal government to handle the crush of migrants who surged into the Big Apple this year. So for decades, they're boasting, right? Oh, look at us. We're sanctuary cities. Look at those Republicans, those bigots, everybody. What a bunch of idiots you are. You guys are racists. Now they don't even have the actual capacity to house these people. And so they're asking the taxpayers, not the government, folks. I'm so tired of people, I'm going to ask the government for money. You're asking us for money for a problem that your party created. So why don't you tax your party, because your party created this? Because clearly you love it. And clearly the party loves it. Clearly the Americans of the Democrat Party love it because they voted for all the shenanigans again in the midterms. So why not have a nice little checkbox on there that you're a registered Democrat, and then from there, we're going to deduct you out of your refund, or we're going to tack on a little bit more there if you actually owe the federal government any sort of money. We're going to tack on this whole thing of like, yeah, you get to pay for illegal aliens because that's what you voted for. That sounds really nice. Let me know what you think about that one in the comments below. But the cost was calculated when the population was far less than it is now, and before a judge decided to open the floodgates at the southern border, the Post has learned. The Federal Emergency Management Agency confirmed Wednesday that its emergency food and shelter programs national board received the city's funding request and was reviewing their application. But FEMA does not share information regarding pending applications and will only share and award their amounts upon application approval. Adams first floated the $1 billion price tag for providing shelter and other services when he declared a state of emergency over the city's migrant crisis in October. Now check this out, you guys. You would think, oh my God, they must have like, I don't know, 1 million illegal immigrants there for $1 billion. No, the city's estimated migrant population was just around 17,000. No joke, like Arizona or Texas, you pick the state, basically sees this in 2 days, right? Literally, there's localities in Texas that are asking for the federal government for a reimbursement because the localities, not the state, the localities are having to pay for these illegal immigrants and all the stuff that goes along with it out of the taxpayer fund, like out of their budget, they're having to pay for this thing. And so they're like, these localities are asking for like $7 to $8 million and they're not being reimbursed. They're not even hearing back from Joe Biden. They're basically just giving the middle finger from getting the middle finger from the White House here. And it's crazy. And so Eric Adams here asks for $1 billion for just 17,000. All the while Arizona and Texas have seen anywhere of like 200,000, 250,000 a month, and not getting any help from the federal government. As of Sunday, that number has ballooned to more than 30,300 and over 20,900 living in taxpayer-funded shelters. Isn't that just lovely? But remember, according to the Democrat Party, these people don't siphon funds whatsoever. You know, it's a net positive, folks, for everybody and everything. It's amazing how much money we waste, you guys. It is so freaking head spinning. The migrant population is poised to further explode when the pandemic-related immigration restriction known as Title 42 gets lifted on December 21st. Now, a little bit of an old article here because we know that the Supreme Court extended Title 42, and I believe they hear arguments in a couple weeks, or at least a week or so. The ruling was appealed by President Biden's administration, with 19 Republican-led states also filing an emergency request Monday to stay the judge's orders. Now, what's interesting here is, yeah, you have the president appealing it, but you have the White House going, oh, well, we're just going to follow what the law. We're going to do what the law says in regards to Title 42. We'll make sure that we adhere to it all. And then you had Jackie Heinrich of Fox News going, well, you guys are the ones that wanted this to be abolished anyways. I mean, you're the ones that was pushing this whole thing of removing Title 42. So now all of a sudden you're going, well, we're just following the law here of getting rid of, and just blaming it on the judicial system for pushing this forward in terms of wanting to get rid of Title 42. So they did that for like a month or two. And then when the Supreme Court goes, we're going to extend it, they're going, oh, well, they have to go with the argument of like, well, we're just going to go with the Supreme Court wants. We're following the law here and everything like that. It's amazing that messaging, if you want to correlate it to Joe Biden, on how the messaging has gone so hard of like, we're following the law. We're doing everything we can. We're the most transparent White House it's ever been, right? Yet Karine Jean-Pierre always says she's being clear, but yet she's never being clear. You have Joe Biden says he's always followed the law, even when he was in the Senate. Somehow Hunter Biden follows the law as well. Everybody's following the law there all of a sudden here when the GOP gains back the House for their investigations. It's amazing how that messaging kind of works out. So you have New York City Mayor Eric Adams asking for $1 billion to build more of these shelters, probably where they get Xboxes, 3-course meal throughout the day, pick whatever you want, nice little buffet for you. We'll treat you very nicely. You get a bed, you get blankets, you get everything. Laundry services and all, folks, taken care of down there on your dime. Let me know what you think about this one down here below. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.